things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening, Watchmen and Watchwomen of Patreon. So momentarily here, so you know, I will be interrupted and I'll have to get up and walk to the door. Kind of a late Amazon delivery tonight, so nothing I could do. Sorry for the little delay I had in getting the stream started. Once I had everything set up and clicked to start the stream, I was informed by the software that I was logged out. So I had to figure out what the heck was going on, get logged in, and I had to re-put in the stream key and all that. But we're here, so that's a good thing. Updates today. Man, well, I just got done getting sick a little bit ago. A friend of ours a friend of ours had some kratom and asked us if we liked it, and I was like, yeah. So anyway, so she had given us some kratom, and the very first time I always take kratom. If I hadn't taken it for a while, I typically will get sick. So, yeah, went through a bout of that, but it's all good. I'm fine. So, and then now that I've gotten sick, up until we run out, as long as I consistently take it, I won't get sick again. So, I don't know. It's every single time. But anyway, it helps just so much when it comes to pain, when it comes to everything. It just kind of lightens my mood, and like I say, pain's a big deal, and because it helps with pain so much, it helped me sleep. So tonight I ought to get some really good sleep, and that's good. Long awaited. Long awaited. So anyway, other than that, just typical day. Worked with plants today, and everything's going okay in the grow tents. No issues there that I can think of, which is awesome. Man, that tomato plant is just drinking nutrients like crazy. So, starting to see a couple of more tomatoes pop up on it. So, man, I can't wait. I just cannot wait. I'm loving this. So anyway, other than that, I can't think of too much that I really did today, aside from just the normal everyday stuff. I know I had said something the other night and about how I really thought that the corporate tyranny was going to overtake the government tyranny, and I'm still standing behind that. Wow. Just insanity, absolute insanity what's going on out there. Social media is just absolutely crazy. I cannot believe that they're doing what they're doing, and we really need to we need to figure this out, because it is scary. It is absolutely scary what big tech can do. The deal in Australia was kind of shocking. How effectively they completely blocked any and all news, because if you don't recall, Australia was wanting Facebook to have to pay for any news that was put on their platform. So Facebook just said, okay, well, we'll stop the news, and they did effectively. I mean, just absolutely effectively, to the point to where the Australian country the government had to give in, because they completely locked out from news on Facebook. So that to me is concerning. That shows you the level of control that they can do with literally the flip of a switch, and that is very concerning, because at a moment's notice they can shut down anybody and everybody that's discussing anything about anything important, whether it be vaccines, whether it be anything, you name it. And that is really unsettling to me. Artificial intelligence has gotten extremely good, and I have a feeling that we don't even have a taste yet of just how good it has gotten. I can remember many years ago, a friend of mine put up a little artificial intelligence like bot, a script on his website, and this was a long time ago. This was before all the Siri and Google Assistant and all of that. So this was like around 2000. That's the time frame I'm talking. And you could have a relatively decent conversation with this script, and that was way back then. That's that's 21 years ago now. So I was shocked at the script that he had that he was playing with. And, I've used Google Assistant. I've messed with Siri a little bit. I try to kind of stay away from that kind of stuff. But I do have Google Assistant on my smartwatch, and I usually don't mess with it, but I will once in a while say, hey, what time is sunset? Because I want to go get drone pictures. Or a couple of times I wasn't real sure where my phone was. So I asked my watch where my phone was, and my watch rings my phone, so that way I can find it. But that's really about it, and I don't use it very often. I've got Cortana on Windows completely shut off, and I stay away from that stuff as much as I can. It's kind of, it's a bit unsettling to me. So if you're wondering, I guess I'll do a little bit of explaining for Lucy. If you're wondering why I've got a big jug right there, that's actually moonshine. No, I'm kidding. That's distilled water. I've got a meter. That is one of the things that is coming from Amazon here any moment. I'm showing 2 stops away. And so your water has to be 77 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius. When you mix your buffer solutions into your cups to calibrate the meters. So that's why I've got it setting up there. My computer, of course, puts out a little bit of heat, and it should probably have it right about that target temperature, I'm thinking, and that way I can calibrate my meter. So the last time I had to sit there and play games with putting cups on a heating pad and sit there and wait until it got up warm enough and all of that. And it was kind of a pain. So give me one moment. Let me go grab this, and I'll be done, and I'll be right back. So just give me one moment. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to.
How did you scare? Oh. I didn't realize you were there.
Alrighty, sorry about that. I always try to grab the packages, so let me find the stupid little thing here. I don't like these paper ones. Hang on. Of course, Blue thinks everything's related to her, so this is the halos that I was talking about that I use on my hybrid hydro systems. And you can't see it real good with the blue light, but it's just a halo. You put your you hook your pump up there to that, and then it's got a bunch of little bitty pinholes around here, and it distributes the nutrient solution around the pots. So got one of those, and then this is the meter I've been waiting for. It's supposed to be a much nicer meter than the one I've been currently using. This one will allow me to take all 3 all 3 readings. It's actually a 4-in-1 meter, but one of the or 2 of them are EC and TDS and EC, which are essentially the same things, but different measurements. So, oh wow, that takes kind of funky batteries. Somebody said you got 2 sets of batteries. Some people said you get 2 sets of batteries, and others didn't say anything about it, so I didn't. 1 set of batteries. But it does look like they gave me 2 sets of buffer solutions. So that is that works. That's cool. I got 2 sets of buffer solutions, so that means I can calibrate it twice if need be. So hopefully that won't be a need be. Let me see. Somebody said that there was 2 sets of batteries. However, there is a set of batteries in it. So, yeah, there's a set of batteries in it, and then they gave me batteries. So, a little backlight, so that's nice. Supposedly you can, I'll just mess with it later, but I think it'd be a lot nicer to be able to use 1 meter and be able to measure everything in one shot. I think that would be so much nicer. To do temperature, your ppm or your TDS or your EC, I think it is, and then let's see, your pH. So, and all in one shot, and I like that idea. So, and it's a better resolution, they call it, than what my other meter was, meaning it's much more accurate reading than what my other meter was. Let me get this put back together and in the box, and then we can get kind of started on what I was wanting to talk about tonight. Yeah, I know you were delivered. I'll tell you what. These smartwatches are really worth their weight in gold, and I just got a cheap, inexpensive one. I've got a TicWatch E, and that thing is worth its weight in gold. It really helps me kind of keep, it helps with my efficiency throughout the day, because like right then, I didn't have to pick up my phone and mess with my phone, boom, right on my watch. I knew what was coming in, I just canceled it out, and don't have to touch my phone. So, but it does need charged, so put it up there on the charger. Hopefully I got it connected good enough. It can be a pain sometimes with that stupid little magnet thingy. Come on. Show me charge. That's the only thing I'm not a real big fan of is that, but okay, it is. Anyway, sorry for all the interruptions and like I say, the slow start. So, but let me try to think if there was anything else I wanted to discuss before we jump into things. I was talking about the corporate tyranny and how crazy it has gotten. You're going to see that reflected in the links when I do the headlines later on. I just can't believe it. And as I was starting to talk about, we really need to have a discussion. We really need to do something. We need to have a talk about some type of online First Amendment rights, because they are starting to take any excuse that they can in order to in order to take away our right to communicate with one another. And I'm afraid that in a very short amount of time, that is going to become on a level that is very dangerous to our well-being. And I think we're right on the cusp of that already. I really do. And, clearly, like was displayed in Australia, literally the flip of a switch, and they can just make everything dark. Anything and everything that they want, they can just make it dark. It disappears. And that's very concerning. So like I say, the AI is very, very good nowadays. It was relatively good back, like I said, in 2000 when my buddy ran that script on his website. So, I don't know. We need to do something. We need to do it quick. And my fear is the moment that people start talking about this en masse and start trying to organize to do it, they're just going to lock us out. And that'll be the end of it. Then what? Then the only thing we can basically do is resort to meeting in the streets to protest. And I'm telling you, they're going to come down hard when it comes to that type of stuff. You watch the coming protests. They're going to come down so hard on the coming protest, it's going to be unreal. Because believe me, they're coming. They are coming. across the globe, we're seeing an absolutely insane amount of protests going on. Australia, I've already talked about them a little bit. They're really starting to stand up, and the government's just smacking them down as quick as they can stand up. And I have a feeling the same thing is largely going to happen here. Man, I don't know that it would have been any different had the election gone any other way. But I really think Biden is going to rule with an iron fist. I do. And if something were to happen to him and Kamala Harris be our president, yeah, I think it's going to be even worse. We are not in good times. So, speaking of that, let's talk about the topic at hand. Prepper assets. In the thumbnail, I had put up a little like stock chart thing, and which really doesn't apply in an SHTF situation, but I thought it might get the point across what we were talking about. Now, I wanted to talk about this because, in my opinion, it's an extremely important subject. And it's one that, with the right mindset and with the right knowledge, somebody can really enhance their capabilities. And that's where I wanted to really kind of focus. That's what I wanted to talk about. So, I know that a lot of us aren't just completely loaded with money. I know we certainly aren't. And so, there has been ways I have been trying to come up with that we could prosper in a bad situation instead of just struggle. And I do indeed believe that there's ways to do that. And I think if we target specific things, we can absolutely turn things around. I think we can, I think, again, like I said, I think we can prosper in times where a lot of people will be struggling. So let's talk about some of those ways. I brought some of them up over the course of, I don't know, period of time, fairly long period of time, I believe. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some different ideas that I have, and you might be able to use them or come up with something for yourself. But before we start talking about tangible things, let's talk a little bit about something that's very much an asset, but it's not really a good, so to speak, more of a service, and that is knowledge. If you have skills, that is an absolute incredible prepper asset, regardless of what those skills might be. As long as they will help aid somebody that's in need of those skills, that is an asset, and that might be able to provide you with food or whatever it is that you need at the time. So I would certainly make sure that I was brushed up on any skills that I have, regardless of what they could be. It could be anything super important to something not so important. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the skill simply is being able to help weed a garden. But while we're on the subject of gardens, not everybody knows how to do it. I'm certainly weak in that area. I'm not Mr. Green Thumb. I know I've got a couple tents going and all that, but I'm absolutely not an authority when it comes to growing. I'm pretty far from it, to be honest. So having skills into how to grow, how to plant things like companion planting, for instance, is going to be a very big deal. And reason being is because a lot of people, I think, are going to get themselves in trouble come probably, I don't know, I'm going to guess their third harvest or so, when they realize that their soil will no longer grow the crops that they had been growing the previous 2 years, okay? And again, I'm not a pro at this, so they may be able to make it a little longer, it might be less, I don't know, but I know at some point the soil is going to be drained of the particular nutrients that they need to grow those particular plants in the same spot. So, in other words, if somebody's growing tomatoes in the same spot and potatoes in the same spot and whatever in the same spots, season after season after season, those plants are going to drain the soil of those nutrients. And if you know what, and they call it companion planting. Again, this is not a strong area of mine, but if you know which plants that you can do this with, you can swap out your crop, and you will consistently replenish your soil. Okay, so if you have skills like that, that will be an asset. That will be a huge asset, because if people can't grow, they won't be able to eat. And there's going to be a lot of people out there, I think, that are going to be challenged when it comes to doing this in order to successfully plant crop after crop after crop. It's a big area. That's a huge area. There's another area that I know gets talked about a lot in the prepper communities, and I it's certainly going to be an asset. But I don't know if it's going to be as much of an asset as what a lot of people are hoping for, and that would be medical skills. And when I say medical skills, I'm not talking about surgery skills. I'm talking about just the general types of skills to bandage up wounds and stuff like that. Of course, it's going to be a very needed skill, but there are so many people out there in the medical field. It's going to be kind of one of those dime a dozen kind of things, I'm pretty sure. But there are many, many, many other areas to where you could be an asset. If you know how to machine, if you know how to weld. And I get it, different types of SHTFs look different ways. So you may not be able to weld because there may not be any electricity to weld. Same with machining. There may not be enough electricity to run a lathe or a mill. But we can't look into a crystal ball and say whether there will be or whether they won't. And just because even if the grid's down doesn't mean that nobody will have any kind of power. So those types of skills, shop skills, being able to machine, weld, and then if you can go deeper into that type of stuff, you'll really become an asset. Like if you know how to rebuild hydraulics, let's say that there is a little bit of power going and a little bit of fuel around. You may have a tractor or something that blows a cylinder. So knowing how to be able to get that cylinder back in working shape, that's going to be a pretty important skill and a pretty important asset. Luckily, I'm in that club. I worked in that field for 3.5 years, so I know a little bit about resealing cylinders. I know a little bit about rebuilding pumps, although getting the parts for those are going to be a little hard. Getting the parts for any of that stuff is going to be hard, but I'll tell you what, some of these old farmers, and there's not too many of them around left anymore, but some of these old farmers, they would buy up parts like that, like you wouldn't believe, and just put them back. A lot of your older tractor cylinders and stuff, a lot of them use O-rings. I mean, it depends on what type of cylinder it is, what type of task it did, but there's a lot of them that use O-rings. And a lot of those farmers would put back a bunch of that type of stuff, so they would have it. So that's just kind of one area, and the machining, the technical areas, but even being able to, something like auto mechanics, being able to repair or keep a combustion engine running. It's going to be another skill, another asset. Anything like this that you have in your knowledge and your skill sets is going to be a massive asset, and that's going to be one that's replenishable. You can use it over and over and over. So I will always say that your biggest asset after SHTF will be knowledge, without a doubt, because again, it's something that you can use over and over and over to help people and be able to obtain the things that you need that you may not have. So that is going to be your biggest feather in your cap. is knowledge. But let's talk about goods. Okay, services is a given. Let's talk about goods a little bit. Because again, I want to try, my intent here is to help as best as I can. And so I have been looking myself at different areas that we could have actual tangible goods and be able to provide goods to other people with minimum investment, but with maximum return, I guess. And so a few of the areas that I want to talk about, one of them is insane. In fact, I'm getting ready to do it tomorrow. I was going to do it today, and probably lucky for all of you, I didn't get a chance to get it done. And the reason I say probably lucky for all of you is because since I didn't get a chance to get it done, I hope I'll videotape it tomorrow and be able to put out a video. I've already got a video, but I don't know if it's with the updated recipe or not. And, I can always make a better video than the previous video. And that's how to make laundry detergent. We make all of our own laundry detergent. And it's really, really awesome stuff. And there's not a lot of money that goes into it. It's really super easy to do. And somebody could go out and buy, say, 1 ounce bottles, 4 ounce bottles, 8 ounce bottles, 16 ounce bottles. And those aren't cheap or those aren't expensive. Sorry, if you buy them in bulk, they're not too bad. Again, the supplies for making laundry detergent is pretty cheap. And you would not believe in an or post SHTF what somebody might give just to be able to have a way to wash their clothes and be able to enjoy that little bit of normalcy. And, again, one batch will go a long way. I know we've been using do-it-yourself laundry detergent for years now. And one batch will go a really long way. And I would highly recommend that this is something that folks get on now, while they can. It's a lot easier now than it would be after a major event. And like I say, you can buy in bulk. You can buy like 1 ounce, 4 ounce, 8 ounce, 16 ounce, however big that you want to deal in. But I would definitely consider going even as small as the 1 ounce bottles. And the reason why I say that is because like the recipe that we use, it's like really concentrated. So a 1 ounce bottle of detergent would be good enough for your average sized load in a washing machine, okay? Because technically the recipe that I have should be diluted 50-50. So after you get done with the recipe that I have, before you actually use it in a machine, you should dilute it, 50-50 with water. So 1 ounce is actually going to be 2 ounces, and that's most certainly enough for a load. So that is a big consideration. Then, of course, you want the larger bottles, like the 4 ounce and 8 ounce for sure, I would say. Like I say, go as big as what you want. Because, again, you're going to want different amounts to barter with, okay? You may run across somebody that's got a chicken, right? And they're good with a 4 ounce bottle of detergent for a chicken, okay? So, boom, you've got one. You can kick them off a 4 ounce bottle. There's your chicken. I know it might sound silly, but this is a very, very real thing. Just as there might be something else that somebody else has that's not quite worth a chicken. Maybe somebody's got 4 potatoes, and that might not quite be worth a full 4 ounce bottle of detergent, which actually would be 8 ounces, but it might be worth that 1 ounce, So you want these different denominations, if you will, of laundry detergent so that you can barter on different levels. And of course you can go as big as you want. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Tin. That you bought some. That you bought the stuff. We've been using a recipe that uses zote, and so we've got a box of zote in there. The flakes. I really like using the zote flakes. But the last time we went to go buy some materials for making it, the zote flakes, man, you couldn't hardly find them, and the few that were offering them on Amazon, it was insane the prices that they wanted. So we went with a powder, and I don't know how it's going to work yet. I haven't used it yet. Now, when I make this detergent tomorrow, we've still got one box of Zote Flakes, so that's what I'm going to use. But after that, we've got some new stuff. I don't know how it's going to work out. If it's going to be as well, I think it'll be fine. But the recipe that I've got is my favorite so far, and the reason why, Zote bars, there you go, and that's good enough. Just grate it, right? I just get the flakes because it's easier to deal with, I think I'm going to film it, and I'll film it, and then I'm gonna put the recipe on the in the description of the video, along with the directions to kind of help make it easier for those that either don't have time to watch the whole video or just want something that they can copy and paste into a text document or whatever. So I actually wrote out the instructions today on it because I just got the recipe from a video that another lady did, and so I needed to write it out for myself because she's got a particular way of doing it. But her way is the best I've found so far. I've tried about 4 different methods now, and hers is just hands down the best. And it actually uses vegetable glycerin in the last stages of making it. And what the vegetable glycerin does is it helps it from it stops it from clumping up quite so bad. So. I'm telling you, it's just an incredible recipe. But yeah, the Zote bars is perfectly fine. Just use a grater and like a cheese grater or whatever, and just grate it up, and you're good to go. We just get the flakes in the boxes when we can, just because it just makes it that much easier for me. I kind of wish now that we would have just bought some bars, because the bars are super cheap. And Zote is super awesome. So, but so that is something, and it's something that you can do after SHTF, that rather easily. It's not like you need any massive equipment or anything. As long as you have a way to heat up some water, you're good to go. But it's one of those things that is inexpensive now to buy the materials to make. And I'm telling you, the return on investment after a major event with laundry soap will be massive. And I would go as far to say as it will be with other forms of soap too, whether it be some type of body soap to wash the body, whether it be shampoo, anything like that is going to have a massive return on investment. It's going to be relatively easy to make. And it's going to be a pretty sought-after thing. And at the same time, I don't believe it's going to be something so sought-after that people are going to kill you to get it. So that is an important thing, too. The level of threat that you may endure because of what it is, what wares you have to sell. So, because there are other things, we're going to bring up one of them next, that is definitely something that would be a little bit more dangerous to deal with in bartering. So on that, let's go there. Alcohol, plain and simple. Alcohol. We're actually getting ready, I do believe, to get a still, and mainly because for now I like to use distilled water in my grow tents. And distilled water's not expensive or anything like that, but it'd be much easier if I could just make it myself. And because, like, the tomato plant's drinking about a gallon a day, okay? Tomato plant's about a gallon a day, and the other tent's going to wind up being roughly a gallon to a gallon and a half a day. So That's a fair amount of distilled water, and it's not that it's expensive or anything like that. That's not the issue. The issue is, hauling it, loading it all up in the vehicle, then unloading it all from the vehicle. I'd rather just have the ability to make it myself. However, being able to distill alcohol will be an immensely big deal. Not only for medical uses like for disinfection and whatnot, but for the obvious use of drinking. And if somebody actually got ahead now and started to distill some alcohol and start putting it back, alcohol is something that you could put on a shelf, I do believe, indefinitely. I don't think it's something that goes bad. And, you could put it on a shelf indefinitely. And once again, you could have your different quote-unquote denominations. You could have 1 ounce bottles, 4 ounce, 16, whatever. However you want to do it. And that is going to be another extremely sought-after item. Now, the thing is going to be storing the supplies for that. Because depending on the type of alcohol it is that you intend to make, it's going to, of course, make a big difference in what type of supplies you have. And like what I plan on trying to work with is something they call sugar shine, because it just sounds so much easier than the other methods. And so essentially the big things that you need for that is sugar and yeast. So as long as you got sugar and yeast, you're good. Which I need to look into, because yeast, it goes bad after a period of time, at least I'm pretty sure it does. And you're only going to be able to store so much sugar and yeast. So I would try to get ahead on that now as much as possible, plus store back as much materials as I could for being able to continue on with your operation after you can no longer get the supplies. So I think that's going to be immensely big. I think being able to provide alcohol, being able to have skills, or provide skills, I should say, or being able to provide any type of soaps or detergents or anything like that. Again, that normalcy, that being able to return to normalcy, even if it's just a little bitty bit, is massive. And even if you could take it one step further, because when you get involved in all these things like soap making and all that stuff, you're not real far away from making makeup. So even if you had the knowledge and the skills to be able to produce things like a lipstick, for instance, even if it's a type of lipstick somebody would have to, those little tincture jar things, they would have to stick their finger in there and then rub it on their lips, kind of like Carmex. Even if you had to make it like that and store it like that, things like that are going to be huge. I mean, huge, because you have people that will go nuts just to be able to have that little bit of normalcy, And when it comes to the makeup end of things, I want you to think about this. Who's going to be looking for the makeup first? Probably those that were a little more well-to-do before SHTF. So they might have a little bit more something to barter for it. And I want you to think about that too. I want you to think about the best demographics that you can target for prosperity after SHTF. It's an important thing to consider. So it's a very important thing to consider. Anybody and everybody's probably going to want alcohol, right? And anybody and everybody's going to want, types of things like laundry soap or body soaps or shampoo. But when you start getting down to things like makeup, for instance, that's not quite necessarily going to be as sought after as what life-saving things will be, but you're going to have individuals out there that have the needed things to survive, but they're going to want something just a little bit different. And unfortunately, human beings will remain human beings until the end of time, And some people are going to want to put themselves, even if it's in an aesthetic way, they're going to want to put themselves above everybody else, right? It's just the way it is. And so being able to provide something like that, there you go. You have just targeted a particular demographic that is going to likely be able to give you a high return on your investment. So I know it probably sounds weird the way I'm talking about this, but believe me, it does make a lot of sense to be able to do that. So the other area that I myself am looking at being able to prosper after SHTF is nicotine. Okay, that is something else that for now, and there's not much time left on this because of new regulation. Well, it's not so much regulations going in place as what it is shippers bowing down to government, and that is nicotine products will no longer be able to be shipped here shortly. So this is something I would say if people want to get in on at least some of the supplies, they better be getting really, really quick, like the base nicotine. But right now, at least it was, and I could pull it up real quick and see if it still is. Let me have a sip of coffee. Let me see one of my better getting places. 1 second here. I believe it's Heartland Vapes. Yep. Nicotine. 100 milligram is what I go for. Yikes, yikes. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, just the same price as before. I wonder what the... oh, okay. So it's the same price as it was before. So it's roughly $45 a liter. Okay. Yeah, $45 a liter, but this is only going to be, as far as I know, a limited time kind of deal, because once those regulations are, again, they're not really, it's not, I don't think regulations in the government as much as it is just within the company regulations, but they're going to quit shipping this. To my knowledge, they're going to quit shipping nicotine products. Now, whether or not it's going to cover like base nicotine, I can't tell you 100%. I know that finished e-juice, like if you were to buy e-juice from company, will no longer be allowed to be shipped. And I think that we're coming right up on that deadline. But, you know, right here, right in stock, $45 plus shipping, and you've got nicotine, nicotine base. Now, this is 100 milligram per milliliter base. You don't vape that, right? Absolutely not. I vape like 6 milligram right now is what I'm vaping, 6 milligrams. So that solution has to be diluted down that much in order to get me down to 6 milligrams. So imagine how long a liter of 100 milligram per milliliter nicotine will last you when you're diluting it down to 6%. Okay? A long time. I mean, you know, what would you say? 600 liters? You'd be the base. You would get, I guess, 600 liters, I guess. It's a lot of nicotine solution. A lot. So as long as you have, you know, you've got to have your nicotine solution, you've got to have vegetable glycerin, you've got to have propylene glycol, and your flavorings, okay? And, of course, you've got to have the devices and whatnot. But let me tell you something. You can get a lot of wire. Okay, let me, hang on. Actually, I had my bag down there, so it's like I'm a bag lady, man. Okay, so you can buy a lot of wire. I was hoping to find a bigger spool. Well, this will work. This was 26 gauge. Gosh, I don't remember how many feet was on this. That part of the label's broke, but it wasn't small, I'll tell you that. I've got several here. Okay, here's 32. There was 100 foot on here. That's probably what all these were, was 100 foot. But I've also seen like 250-foot rolls, and that's wire. Okay, that's this is all, I believe, Canthal. I don't know if I've got any nichrome, essentially the same thing. Canthal here. Yeah, it's going to be Canthal and nichrome. So that's not going to be your temperature, your stuff that's for temperature controlled devices. But you don't need that, and I'm going to explain why. Because the devices, the devices that you're going to be using won't be temperature controlled, because I'm going to explain that here in just a moment. What is this? Okay, I think this is Canthal. This is what they call Clapton here, which is there's a solid core wire in the center, and then there's a smaller wire that's wrapped around, tons and tons of wraps that's wrapped around the bigger wire. They call it Clapton wire. But anyway, none of that's really super important. What you want to know is how can I make money off of that? Well, with this wire, you make coils, and you can get cotton for really cheap. And if you want to really, really save money, the cotton that they use, you can get organic cotton that they use in like hair salons, and you can get real super big boxes of it for pretty cheap. And that is perfect cotton for making electronic cigarette devices. So, oh, wow, sorry. I just looked down at the chat and saw that. Okay, let me show you again. These are the spools of wire, and like I say, I've seen them in anything from 100 foot to 250 foot. You can get spools, and it's not expensive. I'll show you that. Don't let me forget to make it big again. And you can even get it, I think, on Amazon now. Canthal wire. Amazon, here's 24 gauge. You can get 100 foot of it, $8.49, right? 26 gauge, 100 foot for $7.49. See what I'm saying? Here you can buy a sample pack. Oh, there's 25 feet there, so you're going to probably want more than 25 feet. But yeah, you can get, wire is not super expensive. Here's a 250-foot roll of 32 gauge for $6.50. Okay? It's not expensive. Not at all. And then your cotton, let's look at that real quick. I don't know what it's called. I think it might be a round. Yeah, I don't know. Beauty cotton. Let me put in box. I don't know what it's called. I'm not really sure. I have not really done here. Yeah, this here. The Cellu cotton. Right here. So you're talking like $26.52 for 500 feet. And you're not even going to use but just a little bit. I'll make my view back bigger again. You're not going to use but just a tiny, tiny little bit to make these coils, okay? So again, your return on investment on this is just absolutely insane. The whole trick is you got to be able to make good tasting recipes. And right now, at pre-SHTF, you can actually go to different websites. Like there's one called e-liquidrecipes.com, e-liquidrecipes.com, and they've got thousands upon thousands of recipes up there, free for the taking. They're not all good, but I'm just saying, they're there. Your flavorings are going to be your most expensive thing. And what you need is like a water-based candy flavoring. You don't want to use alcohol-based flavorings. You want like a water-based candy flavoring. And there's places you can go for that. and get really good deals. Now, I have a wholesale account with a company, and I know I got to bring my screen back up here. I have a wholesale account with these folks, and I think anybody can get one. It's not like a massive, super secret thing. But I've done business with these guys since, gosh, a long time ago. Since before they had a flavor apprentice. They used to just be perfumer's apprentice, right? And since e-cigs went so big, they had actually started a second kind of part of their shop. And let me show you here. I don't think it's going to give anything away here if I do this. I can go here and go to bulk sizes. And like I have to order some soon. I'm almost out of this right here, the apple tart Granny Smith. And so I can get a 16-ounce bottle of it for $20 or a 32-ounce for $38. 1 second. Here, this is, oops. Go back up big here. This is what I have left. This is all I've got. And believe it or not, I actually use quite a bit in the recipe that I vape all the time that I've actually got in here right now. So I've got to getting on ordering this. But like I was saying and showing, go back up to that view. You're talking $20 for a 16-ounce, which is what that bottle is, or $38 for a 32-ounce, which of course is twice that. It's not horrible. It's absolutely not horrible. And the other flavoring, it takes for the Evil's apple juice I vape. This is what you use the most. You use 14% Tart Granny Smith apple flavor. And then this one's tricky to get. I don't know if it's still available or not. This is, let's see. If I could spell. This is a little bit harder to find. They've got it still. Right here. So, for a 16-ounce bottle of imitation banana, $12.20 plus shipping. Now let me throw this at you. I bought a 16-ounce bottle of this right shortly after me and Jen got together, and I was in Mount Vernon. Now the recipe calls for 3% of this banana flavoring. Okay, I had obviously had to buy more. I just opened the second bottle since me and Jen have been together. I literally, the last time I made some up, I opened up that second bottle. Since me and Jen have been together. That is the absolutely mind-blowing crazy thing, okay? So, and then Capella, I've got one more flavor here. And you can get it right on Amazon, I believe. Not in a very big amount, I don't think. Oh, yeah, you can. Caramel version 2, Capella flavor drops. I believe that's going to be the same thing. I believe that's going to be it. And I mean, you probably saw something, a dreamsicle. You can get creamsicle, they call it. That's a little bitty 13 milliliter bottle, though. But here's a 4-ounce bottle of Capella caramel, okay? And that's the version 2. I think I'm using version 1. Either way, the version 1's like $17. And that's 4 ounces. Now you need 1.5% of this caramel for the recipe. So I'm telling you, a minimum, investment and a maximum return on that investment. It's absolutely mind-blowing. From there, okay, this is the crazy thing. From there, you've got your wire, you've got your all your flavorings, your nicotine, all that good stuff. Now the issue you're going to run into is how are these people going to vape it, because it takes a heated coil to be able to work, to function. Okay? Now, having a way to charge people's batteries is a very smart idea. But aside from charging batteries, all you have to do is have some type of you could use a cap. If you had a metal cap, anything that you could use that would stop juice from just falling on the ground or whatever. All you got to do is have a coil with cotton wicked through that coil and a battery. Okay, that's it. And you're vaping, right? You're producing vapor. That's all that is a coil heating up cotton that has e-juice on it. That's it. That's it. So there's a million different ways that you could come up with some type of redneck, setup to be able to vape with. So if you could come up with a way that you could, where you could, like, I'm going to say mass produce, but of course it doesn't have to be on the level of hundreds or anything like that. But if there's a way that you could repetitively make the vaping devices be able to have the juice, be able to have the coils and the wicking and batteries, okay, what these are is, in here is basically 18650 batteries. Now they're high drain batteries, but considering that the type of coils you would be making would be what they call a high resistance coil, you could get away with using the batteries out of an old laptop, a used laptop battery. So you could scavenge the 18650 batteries, which look like that if you haven't seen one, 18650 batteries, and as long as you had one of those batteries that you could touch the wires on with your coil, you've got somebody a nicotine delivery system. So, again, for minimum investment, you can get maximum return and be able to provide folks with something that it's going to be really, really sought after. There's not a lot of people that's going to be able to provide nicotine to other people. So think about how well sought after that would be, So, and the other thing that's good about that is as long as you were careful about how you conducted business, you wouldn't have to worry so much about somebody killing you because for your wares. And the reason why is because if they don't know how to make the juice, or if they don't know how to do any of that, they kind of need you alive. So, that's kind of an important note when it comes to this whole barter kind of thing. So you want to stay alive to be able to continue to barter, essentially. Trying to think. Let me have a vape here. Because I require nicotine too, and coffee. Oh my goodness. So I think I pretty well covered the main areas that I wanted to hit, but what I want folks to just put thought into this, because we all have different skill sets. We all know how to make different things. So now is the time to start thinking about those things, about those items that we can make both now and after SHTF that would be a sought after item, and we need to start thinking about how we would distribute it, said items. And the e-juice, again, you buy different size bottles, so different size bottles, different denominations. And I think now would be the time, well, yesterday was the time to think about these things and to come up with different ways. And again, we want to try to seek something that's going to have minimum investment with a maximum return, and something safe is ideal. You know, the alcohol thing, that's not as safe as what the other things are, because now you're really talking about possibly drawing the wrong crowd as far as your clientele. But again, you know, as long as they know that they don't know, in other words, they don't know where your stash is or anything like that, they don't know where your still is or anything like that, as long as they know that they can continue to come back and get more, and as long as they don't know where it is that you have it, you're probably going to be relatively safe. But other things like, you know, the being able to make e-juice, for instance, those are things that, you know, most people have no clue how to do, not even the beginning of how to do. So you're probably not just going to be able to stay alive, but chances are you might even wind up being protected so that you can keep your business going. There you go, you know. If you offer up your wares in return for protection, you know, there you go. You've got security. So these are all things that I think are going to be immensely important. And again, it's ways that I can see now. You know, I always use a phrase called tables will turn. And this is a way that you can make sure that those tables do turn. You know, maybe if you're somebody that struggles with bills and stuff like that now, we certainly don't have loads and loads of money. So, you know, we kind of every dollar that we put towards, you know, preps and stuff like that, we have to really be targeted with it. And this is a way that now individuals that are in the same boat as us, which is probably most people listening to my voice, this is a way now that, again, I'm probably getting old hearing it, but that minimum investment for maximum return. There's a lot of sense with that. And, you know, if we get on this now and start working on this now, not only coming up, again, with the different methods, the different types of delivery methods and all that stuff, but also putting back supplies to be able to do it, that's going to be huge. That's going to be absolutely huge. So that is my assignment for folks. That is my assignment, is that people take a look at what they know and what they can do and what they can possibly come up with that would be good answers for this particular situation. I don't think it's going to be a super long period of time before we're going to be given a choice. We're going to be given a choice whether or not we want to be a part of their system or not. And I can guarantee you right now already, I don't want part of their system. Okay, when they go to a one world currency and all that stuff, this whole great reset stuff, yeah, I think there's a very, very, very strong reality when it comes to that subject. I don't think that that's a subject that people are just, a big conspiracy theory that ain't going to happen. I think it's right around the corner. And I don't want no part of that. I don't know about you, but I don't want no part of their New Deal. Absolutely not. Because I know how evil it's going to be. And I want no part of it. And so if like the good book says, we won't be able to do this, that, and the other thing if we don't take part in their system, if we don't take the mark, so to speak, because I think the mark is going to be in many different forms. But currency is one thing that, if you don't want to agree with their system, you're not going to be able to participate in. However, there's going to be other individuals out there that's not participating either. And so as long as you have ways to barter back and forth with those individuals, you've got a much better chance of making it than if you didn't. So, any way that we can empower ourselves to put ourselves in a better position during those times, the better off we are. And so that's what I want people to start thinking about. Solutions. Let's come up with solutions. We can't We can't fix the bigger problem. We can't do anything about the bigger problem. But we can come up with solutions to be able to, you know, to be able to figure it out, to be able to make it. So, yikes, that's crazy. Why in the heck do you owe that? Wow. That is crazy. Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't read far enough up. Man, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know if you've got it worked out or not. I hope that they're reasonable payments. Man, yeah, I hope they're reasonable payments. And beyond that, I don't know how much longer you're going to have to worry about that, just to be honest. You know, I don't know how much longer you're going to have to worry about that. That's actually, by the way, Tin, that's what I encourage people to do. I think that's what our society needs to do as a whole right now is mark themselves exempt on taxes and refuse to pay them. Now, I'm not telling you to be a martyr and just stick your middle finger up at the government and say, hey, you know, I'm not paying these taxes. No, don't do that. I think this is something that we need to do as a whole. I mean, the society needs to do it as a whole. And we do have a leg to stand on. Absolutely, we do have a leg to stand on. It won't work for an individual, but it will work for all of us. And that is a religious exemption, right? Because of all of the things that the government is doing, like wars and everything else, you can most definitely come up with 1,000,001 religious reasons why you absolutely will not support that. But you doing it as an individual will just turn you into a martyr. This is something that I've been trying to get through to people. This is kind of one of the reasons why I've been kind of so frustrated with like Bear Independent, and I'll just call it out. Because, you know, he's been talking a lot about small businesses lately and stuff like that. And boy, he really drives home about, you know, oh, your LLC and registered business and your taxes and all that. And it's like, oh, are we independent or are we not? Why are we pushing this stuff? Why are we not trying to actually do something about the problem, you know? And, you know, he's got a large voice out there, and he would be a formidable, you know, opposition, so to speak, when it comes to this type of stuff. But he's kind of got to, I don't know, he's got to figure out who he's serving, I think. But, you know, that's actually what I've been encouraging people to do is not as individuals, but as a group. I want to make that very, very clear, because as an individual, again, you'll just turn yourself into a martyr, and that's about it. You know, there's a lot of people that have as individuals said, oh, I don't have to pay taxes and blah, blah, blah. It says right there and blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, they're in prison. You know, I've actually known a couple of people that have done it, and yeah, it doesn't work out real well. I had a best friend years ago that one of the business, his dad did two things. His dad was a nutritionist. That was one of the hats he wore. And he was also somebody that went around and talked to people and told them how they could get out of their taxes. And it was kind of funny because one day I asked him, my buddy's name was Bruce, I'm like, Bruce, tell me, does your dad pay taxes? He's like, well, yeah. And I said, but he literally makes a ton of money by going around and telling people they don't have to pay their taxes. Yeah. I said, you know why? He's like, why? I said, because he's not going to prison for not paying his taxes. That's why. And the guy made a boatload of money doing it. He literally made a boatload of money to go around and bullshit people. And you know, he wasn't the one that was going to go to prison over it. So, I do think he wound up. It seems like I recall hearing though he did wind up getting investigated. I don't know if he ever got into trouble or anything else. So, um, you know, it is what it is. But you know, the good news is, if there is good news, I don't think that's something you're going to have to worry about real long because, hey, the Great Reset, right? The Great Reset. You're going to get that wiped right off along with your universal basic income and all that. You just have to sign here, which I think I know you well enough to know you ain't signing. Neither am I. I'm sure Jen isn't. So we're all going to be in the same boat. In fact, that's why we prep. Right? That's why we prep. So, again, you know, make sure you put yourself in a position that you can prosper after all this stuff goes down. Because I think there's going to be a large amount of people that are going to resist this whole Great Reset New Deal thing. Okay? And I think we're going to be far from alone. And so, as you know, the moment we do that, though, the moment that there is a resistance, we're going to be cut off. We're going to be cut off from the system. Okay? So we have to make sure that we put ourselves in a good enough position that we don't need the system. Okay? That's pretty much the long and the short of it. So, well, you know, you're right, you know, but I think there's going to be a large majority of people that do roll over. Right? I really do think that there's going to be, and it's going to be a majority that does roll over. I'll bet you upwards of 70% of people roll over. Probably higher than that, but probably be more into the 80s, close to 90%. Maybe not quite 90, but I'll bet you it's in the 80s, that 80 percentile that people that go ahead and accept the new system. So, but I think there's going to be enough of us holdouts that we can help each other along. In other words, you know, we'll all be able to have different goods and services that we'll be able to barter to stay alive. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, but I think it's going to be possible. So let me have another sip of coffee here, and we got some headlines to do. Oh, man. See, it's a totally different show over here now, ain't it, 10? That's, you know, I sit there and I struggled with it for a long time, the Patreon thing, and I kept asking myself, what the hell am I going to do? And, you know, it's like, well, I'm going to do what I do, but better, you know, and I can be, with a more targeted audience, I can be a lot more honest, and I can be a lot more open, and I can put a lot more stuff out there than I just would on YouTube. Because, you know, could you imagine the things that people would like our conversation? Oh, you know, did you hear that guy? He said, don't pay your taxes, you know? Yeah, I can't just do that openly on you know, regular YouTube, because my God, you know, think of the idiocy that would come from that. So it is what it is. But, you know, there's a lot of other stuff too, though. And it's going to get better and better. So, let's see. Let me have a sip of coffee again, a few vapes, and I always try to relax a little bit before I go over to the dark side and do headlines. Oh, man. Feels good. I don't know if you caught the beginning where I was talking about our friend gave us some kratom. So, yeah, but I got my usual sick the first dose. So now that I gotten sick, I ought to be good. So I'm probably going to take, I don't know, I'll probably take a couple of capsules, 2 or 3 capsules before bed. I took 4 earlier and got sick, so I'll probably take 3 and before bed, because it does help me sleep. Yeah, she gave us, I forget, I think it's white Polly is what she gave us, I think a half a pound of. So, she can't take it, because she's concerned of taking it with her liver. She's, I guess, got liver issues, and she was concerned of taking it because of that. So she just gave it to us and gave us a good hookup. Oh yeah, you may want that hookup. Um, you may want that hookup. Kratom for I think it's on sale now for like 36. It comes out after shipping. It comes out to like $55 for a kilo. For a freaking kilo. That's after shipping though. It's like $36 and some odd cents base price for a kilo of kratom. So there's actually a website. One second. I'll get it. And I mean, I was invited to a Facebook group, and that's where I got the link at. I mean, the Facebook group is owned by these guys, so I know it's legit. So everybody's got really good stuff to say, and there's a lot of people in the group. There you go. If you're looking for a good deal on kratom, that is definitely a good place to go. So I can't say I've personally tried it yet, but like I say, from the comments in the group, I believe that there is absolutely nothing to worry about with that company. So everybody's got a lot of good to say about it. So anyway, good link. They also got CBD stuff, and I think I don't know if they've got it on their website, but they've also got that Delta 8 or Delta 9, whatever it is. That's kind of like weed, but not. I know that's a big thing now. So, but I'd rather just have the real stuff personally, but not everybody can. Okay. I never did get my vapes. And I reckon we can get over there and ready to go anyway. Yeah, now with the software I'm using and the way I'm doing everything, I can actually see the chat now too, so which makes it nice. I don't have it like in front of me every second, but I do get a chance to look at it a lot more often than I did before. Let's see. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Kratom actually does more for me, especially on a physical standpoint, than even what weed does. The only thing is affording it. I mean, even at getting it for like $90 a kilo, Jen and I would go through a kilo. The two of us would go through a kilo a month, and having that extra $90 to spend on a kilo. It's kind of a big deal for us because we don't have a ton of income. So that's kind of why we quit doing. That's the only reason we quit doing it was because of the expense. But man, I'll tell you what, having that hookup now to be able to get a kilo for half of what we were paying before, that's an incredible hookup. So I don't know if that's cheaper than what you've been getting it for or not, but If so, there's a good source. Are you? Yeah, I remember you. You take quite a bit more than what we did. So are you plugging it? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, are you doing capsules? I can't remember how you take it. I can't imagine people plugging it, but it's a thing. It is a thing. Okay, that's what I thought. So do you plug the caps? I'm kidding. I can't see. Yeah, exit only. Exit only. Ah. Yeah, that's what we do as the capsules. There's no way. I forgot to. It's been a while since we'd had any, and I couldn't even find my small gram scale. I had to use my kitchen scale, which does have grams on it, but it's not very accurate. And I did find my small scale, but it's been a while since I did it, and I didn't wipe the capsules off. Ick, massive ick. DMSO, never heard of it. Pardon me. I just Googled it. DMSO, 99.9% pure liquid, 8 ounce. That for humans or for pets? Or both? But I saw pet stuff too come up. Hmm. Interesting. I will have to look into that and check that out. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I put off the whole kratom thing for a long time. Um, because I just yeah, I'm a skeptical person. I'll be honest. And and so when Eric Vag, or however you pronounce his last name, when he told me about kratom, is Eric? It seems like I recall something might have happened to Eric. Yeah, yeah. I don't believe he's. Yeah, he's no longer with us. Um, he's no longer with us. I don't know if you remember him or not, Ten. Um, but I guess it's 3 months ago today. 3 months ago today. It's a shame. He was he started coming around the Watchman news during the Malheur Wildlife Refuge ordeal, and way back then he was telling me to try kratom, and again, I'm a skeptical person, and he's like, oh man, it's so great, it really helps. And that is why I was so skeptical, to be honest, was because uh, basically the amount of help people said it gave them, and I was like, sounded like rainbows and pots of gold to me. And so it wasn't until literal years later that we actually tried it. I only tried it because somebody sent us some, and I was just shocked. I think we both were. We were just absolutely shocked with how well it actually worked. It's crazy. he was one of the people that had come here, like I say, during when we covered Mollier Wildlife Refuge. He was actually a moderator here for quite some time. So um, we had a group of people that modded, and there wound up. Well, we went off air for a little while, and like the moment that we went off air, one of those moderators um, tried to more or less take the tried to take our subs over to what they were doing. And my issue with that, number one, they were trying to do it behind my back. If they wouldn't have been trying to be sneaky about it, I wouldn't have cared. But they were trying to do it behind my back, for one. And for two, you know how I'm like strictly nonpartisan? Well, the woman that was trying to steal all my subs over is strictly liberal, and was, trying to take everything that direction. And it's like, no, I can't, I cannot stand behind that. So I had to very, very aesthetically put my foot down on the situation. And so, Eric was one of them that became unmodded at that particular time. Not that I had an issue with him. In fact, I'd still have him as a Facebook friend. Never had an issue with him, but I kind of had to throw out the whole bunch kind of thing. So there's absolutely no issues with him. He's great. Well, he was a great guy. Oh, man. Oh. I don't remember how he passed. I don't know if he took his own life. Um, I honestly can't remember. I don't, to be honest, I don't know for a fact that I even knew. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm looking over on his profile to see. I doubt it's even up there, but I'm not sure. I don't know if it was, a medical issue he had had, or if, I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know if I ever knew. I am very uncomfortable with the whole death thing. I don't deal with it well. And, um, I kind of, I don't know. If somebody passes that I know, I may say a few words or whatever. Um, I typically try to go further than the thoughts and prayers thing, but um, I typically I'll never ask like what happened or how or anything like that, because I myself I just don't deal with death well. Hmm. I'm like right where it happened, so I'm trying to look to see if anything was said. Let me look. Okay. Um, Spoke with the medical examiner this morning, and she said the pulmonary report is showing it to be a stroke. They will let me know for sure. Let me see if she updated that at all. No, so that's pretty much um, but like I said, because I do see my comment here. I said I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm stunned. Eric moderated for our chat room for a while. I have no idea what happened, but you're all in our thoughts and prayers. I'm not one that'd just say you're in my thoughts and prayers and leave it at that, because I try to put myself as best possible in another person's shoes, and hearing that same statement a million times probably isn't very helpful. So I try to add any kind of a personal touch that I can, just to let them know that they really are in my thoughts, that it's not just a passing thought, that it's an actual real thought. And again, though, I don't deal with the I don't deal with the death thing too well. So anyway, let me take my last sip of coffee, have a few vapes. We'll jump on the dark side and do some headlines. If you're asking me that, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But that's a shame. Like I say, he was a good guy. Really good guy. From what I remember, he had a heart of gold, very open mind, very critical thinker. Just a incredible person. So it says a lot about a man when you observe their children. And his daughter was the main one commenting and stuff, and you could tell that his daughter was just absolutely madly in love with him, and of course a healthy father-daughter way. And that says a lot. That right there says a lot about the man, right in itself. So oh yeah, I've this past year, and I mean chronological year, there's a lot of people that I went to school with that are no longer with us. Um, and some of them are just so absolutely shocking. And it doesn't seem like, to be honest, it doesn't seem like a month can go by that I don't hear about another one. And it's just it's mind blowing. It is absolutely mind blowing. Alrighty. Good evening, watchmen and watchwomen of YouTube. So we had a long discussion tonight. In fact, we've already been live for an hour and 42 minutes. So some of that was just chit chat, but we definitely went over the hour mark on the subject at hand, which was prepper assets. And we had a real good talk about that. And, real quick to explain what it was that we talked about when I say that is we talked about ways to put minimal money into something to get a maximum return after SHTF. So in other words, things right now that you could get for minimum cost that you could really maximize your bartering power after a major event. So a really good episode tonight. I know it's getting to the end of the month, which means if you become a patron now, you're paying $2 essentially for just like 6 days or what have you. But if you're interested in becoming a patron, put that in the back of your mind. And if you choose to become a patron after the first, to where you'll begin a full month, do not write it down on something, on a calendar or piece of paper or something. Do not miss the show that we had tonight, because there's a lot of valuable information in that show, and I'm not just telling you that. I want you guys, like I've been saying, I want to empower you, right? I have no interest in controlling you. I want to empower you, and any way I can think of to better do that, man, that's just great to me, because that's what I want. I want to see you succeed, okay? Tonight was a really, really good episode. So if you decide to become a patron, please, I understand waiting until the first of the month to do so. Please mark it down somewhere to go back and watch the show on February 24th. And I'm telling you, it is a really good show. I will link down in the description of the video tonight's show. You can also bookmark that as well, so that you can go back to it again later. If you decide to become a patron. So anyway, you're not here to hear about Patreon, you're here to hear about headlines, so let's get to them. Okay, nothing from last night, so I'm starting with anything that I'd started putting out this morning. Protests erupt after jury decides not to indict officers involved in black man Daniel Prude's death in custody. Twitter called out for double standards after it singles out report on UK influence op in Russia with hacked materials label. Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell offers to renounce UK and French citizenship in exchange for bail. Or bow, however you want to look at it, right? Natural gas is driving decarbonization in India. At least 75 dead amid wave of riots in Ecuador prisons attributed to gang war. Rioters erect barricades and throw bottles at police during 8th night at Pablo Hasél protest in Barcelona. Square doubles down on crypto, buying $170 million more in Bitcoin. Roe as NGO Amnesty says Navalny not a prisoner of conscience due to far-right views, and Western commentators claim RT is behind it. Venezuelan lawmakers back expulsion from EU ambassador after Brussels slaps sanctions on Caracas officials. China's fight against COVID-19 cut deaths from other illnesses, says a study. 4 arrested in international investigation over attempted $10 million extortion of senior Iraqi politician. China announces massive oil and gas discovery in Bohai Sea. Russia backs radical plan to block profits of companies that destroy environment after fining mining giant $2 billion over fuel spill. Russia expects to win big from rapidly expanding LNG market. Oklahoma man on parole accused of taking victim's heart to feed family that he later slayed and maimed. I actually remember when that happened. Beijing blasts Britain for abusing UN Human Rights Council to attack and smear China. UK, France, and Germany urge Iran to reverse dangerous decision to suspend agreement on short notice nuclear inspections. At least $1 billion of Iran's frozen assets to be released by South Korea after Tehran meets with Seoul. UK seeking re-election to UN Human Rights Council after Trump withdrawal. Wait a minute. U.S. Let me reread that. U.S. seeking re-election to UN Human Rights Council after Trump withdrawal. Blinken calls for expulsion of other members. 1 in 6 Americans under 23 say they're LGBTQ, as more people in the U.S. than ever identify as non-heterosexual. Commission calls on UK government to close loophole that allowed extremists to avoid prosecution. Extent of mental health toll in Russia from COVID-19 pandemic revealed as number of those seeking help increased up to 30% in 2020. Man dies after police kneel on his neck for nearly 5 minutes, family says in wrongful death claim. Now this had already happened a little while back, but now his family has filed a wrongful death claim. In landmark case, German court sentences ex-Syrian intel agent to 4.5 years over involvement in 2011 protest crackdown. British pound extends relentless rally to multi-year highs amid hopes of economic recovery. A £10,000 fine for a party London barbershop celebration ends in police raid. Dutch police announced 23 tons of cocaine seized by authorities in record haul. Our forests are sick. German woodland hit by record damage due to fires and pests, says a damning new report. Neera Tanden's quest for OMB post hits another roadblock as crucial step postponed indefinitely, says reports. Member of London's mayor's statue toppling diversity commission resigns amid accusations of racism and anti-Semitism. Facebook says it erred on the side of over-enforcement when blocking news content in week-long standoff in Australia. Even with pandemic and global economic downturn, Russian national debt lower than expected as country counts cost of coronavirus. Global airline industry body to launch COVID travel pass by March. Dip in UK's vaccination rate tied to supply fluctuations as COVID jab makers get to grips with production push, a deputy CMO says. After the West refused to provide Ukraine with COVID-19 vaccines, Kiev's long wait finally over as 500,000 doses arrived from India. Australian Defence Minister hospitalized as a precaution amid scandal over alleged rape of young staffer. Poland outlaws face coverings and scarves in favor of masks and ramps up regional restrictions as British COVID-19 variant spreads. Violence in Kiev sees 27 cops injured as protesters come out against court decision to lock up far-right nationalist Sternenko. If I said that right, Sternenko, something like that. Anti-Trump Lincoln Project received $32 million in free media coverage since sexual harassment scandal broke, says a report. Preacher without a face, ISIS chief recruiter in Germany sentenced to over 10 years in prison following a years-long trial. Not a year, I guess several years. Sweden clamps down on restaurant hours, advises solo shopping in bid to curb worrying COVID-19 situation. Let's Play Strip Poker, former staffer publishes explosive essay dealing claims of sexual harassment against Governor Andrew Cuomo. UK's COVID-19 app can be converted into vaccine certificate whether Brits want it or not, says reports. France's Dunkirk area to join Nice in weekend lockdown amid deteriorating COVID-19 situation, says a health minister. U.S. Federal Reserve investigating disruptions to Fedwire payment system and other services. In fresh censorship, Twitter bans Russian accounts it says are undermining confidence in NATO amid rising tensions with Moscow. 72 hours to leave, EU envoy to Venezuela told to pack her bags after Brussels brings new sanctions over elections and rights abuses. Police pelted with stones, garbage dumpsters set alight, in Catalonia's ninth night of riots over jailed rapper Pablo Hasél. And it's Catalonia, sorry. How do you do, fellow kids? Biden White House leaves followers baffled after tweeting out of touch meme with Canadian Prime Minister. Israeli PM urges Biden to maintain sanctions on International Criminal Court to stave off war crimes investigations, says media. Conservative host posts about his investigation into voter fraud claims and gets blocked, challenges Twitter to disprove his findings. The war continues. Small investors up in arms over GameStop stock trades halted amid price surge and reports of Reddit outages. What about student loans, water, or the homeless? Outrage follows report that $1.7 trillion F-35 program is now considered a failure. We've been saying that for like a long time. Asian American civil rights group blasts critical race theory as hateful, divisive fraud in fiery letter. Hey, I love aircraft. I really, really do love aircraft. But that F-35... yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cool concept, but that thing's been nothing but a money hole. Asian American Civil Rights Group blasts critical... oh, I already said that, didn't I? Australian Parliament passes law requiring big tech to pay media after last-minute changes prompted by Facebook news ban. And let's see, Georgia State House approves bill limiting police budget cuts to no more than 5% as Democrats slam law as unconstitutional. And that would be it. That is the headlines. I'm going to wrap it up and get out of here because in 6 minutes from now, we're going to have a dog huffing at us just nonstop until we're snuggled up in bed with her. So it's just the way it is. I don't know where she keeps her watch at, but she keeps it handy. I can tell you that much. Anyway, I am out of here. I hope everybody has a great night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.